Hello guys. Hello everyone. Oh, how y'all doing? As usual, if you can hear me, please thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay. Hope you are fine, everyone. Please just quickly in the chat box, just type how you are doing, just tell us. I know some people didn't go to work today. If you're in school, some didn't go to school today. If you're writing exams, because I think this is public holiday, so that's for people like us in this region. So yeah, just quickly type how your day was. Wow, slept all through. Nice. That's good though. Super relaxing. Nice. I like that. So I hope like we all had time to like revise on what we're doing because we're getting to the very technical part. In fact, we've gotten there already. Gentlemen, we are officially past halfway. So let's just little reaction. We're past halfway. We're 51% now. We're 51% done with our bootcamp. So yeah, I want to see like clap reactions, celebrations. Not seeing any celebration. I need to see something. Yes, so you can see whatever you've been learning, all you have to do is probably just build on it because no matter what you do, no matter the level you get to, you will still keep building on the knowledge you have. So yeah, I think that's what sets people special from other people. Same thing with footballers. Some like the basic thing about football is to kick the ball, just kick the ball, run. If you can sprint, you can dribble, you can tackle, you can keep. Everybody can do that basically, right? So, but then it never ends. You keep learning. Same thing with every other career, whether it's engineering, whether it's um, whether it's teaching, anyone, you always build up on knowledge that you have. So now this is a very good solid foundation. You are never going to get scared of whatever they throw at you. I'm telling you now that with what you have learnt in this bootcamp, they can bring in a new software and it will take you less than a week and you'll be modeling there. Do you believe me? Because now we've been able to go through most of the processes of modeling. You can still go back to the PDF file even after you've gone through the classes. Those documents that I sent, I'm going to send this one too. After every week, you're going to get access to that particular one. So you can keep revising and revising. Trust me, if you go over them like 5 times, you'll be so good you won't believe it. So that's just it. So congratulations to everybody once again for getting to this level. And whatever you have in front of you is less than what you have passed. I think that's to me. That's to me. So yeah. Welcome once again to 3D modeling and animation bootcamp powered by Super Team Nigeria. Let's just put let's do a little shout out to Super Team Nigeria reaction or a clap or anything or a thumbs up because it's always a good platform and trust me, I had a lot of responses and some people, with if I say the higher ups, those are like that's like super team, right? And they're asking me, I sent over like almost 500 people actually that I sent emails to register for the bootcamp, and only like less than 300 responded to their email. And from the less than 300, we have how many that are committed. So you can see, like, it's because it's free. And today, someone was telling me that, wow, see, guy, this thing is free. That's why. And I've been trying to wrap my head around. I've been trying to change how to make, it's supposed to be faster than this, but I'm taking my time. Like, this one is me trying to take my time to make sure I carry everyone along. but some people are not. In fact, many people are actually not serious about it. So that's the thing about free things. So you can see that, trust me, most people were right when they were like, okay, when it's free, people are not serious. And it's true. I say it's actually true. If you buy a course for somebody to do it, you can see the person might actually just be, because it's not his money. If it was your money, even if you're writing exams, like your mind will be here, like you make sure that at least you get the most out of this, you know. So yeah, very quickly, please just use the chat box and type whatever you learned the last time. Very quickly, very quickly, very quickly. Thank you very much, because I know you learned a lot. Even if you're not in the last class, if you are here now, at least you went through the class recording. So just tell me one thing you learned, please, 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 please. Waiting for you guys. I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting. Hmm. She shine shine bubble. Remembered assigning colors to different fields and adding metallic stuff to make the objects shiny. Hey, no problem. I learned about the different materials. I learned about displacement. Beautiful. Nice. Nice. That's superb. Nice one. Nice one. Understand more about displacement, surfaces, and volumes. Mad. Cool. 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 I like that. I like that. This, the thing is saying we also need positive feedback from you guys, and I need to know that I'm not just going alone. And that's why I try to maybe go back a little. I stayed on the assignment of like, let's make sure everybody comes along. And I was thinking maybe today, like as a public holiday, someone will just pick from Friday and just pick all the classes, binge watch them. There are people that actually joined just yesterday and they ID at like the ID at the beginning of the second week. So you can imagine. So I'm happy that at least you are learning fast, and we trust me, we are doing a great work here. So shout out to everybody that actually typed something. I'm actually happy that we learned a lot about that. The fact that you even know about them, your in fact there's nothing you cannot achieve. I'm telling you. Let me just break this to you, right? With the knowledge you have right now, you are almost good to go on any kind of object. So yeah, you're almost good to go on any kind of object. And I'm happy that you're beginning to see that. So we stopped at this particular one is very long. Oh, that's why I had to break it down. Week 2 should have ended, but I needed to make sure everybody is carried along. So remember I explained shadow catcher, right? And I explained how you can render and make your objects transparent, but it picks out your shadows. So this is what helps us with CGI movies. So you can render these balls and use your iPhone or your normal phone, take a picture on your table, right? A picture of your table or your chair, and you can just take this and put it on that image. Remember, PNGs, when you deal with images that are transparent, they can only be in PNGs. Let me just teach you today. JPEGs cannot have transparency. If you convert a PNG that has transparency to JPEG, that place will turn white or black, depending on the particular threshold. That's how white it is or how black it is. So yeah, shadow catcher. And then we spoke about material settings. I spoke about how you can use transparent shadows if it contains a transparent BSDF, meaning it needs to have transparent BSDF for you to have transparent shadows. All this ones is just in the material settings when you open your material settings tab. And then you have for the displacement, mesh vertices will be displaced before rendering. Now remember, displacement has to do with the changing of the topology, that's the shape of the surface, not color now. That's what displacement does. So now you agree with me that if it's changing the surface, it's going to move around some vertices, but you will not see them moved. Or you see them moved in your final render, or you see them move when you activate them in your viewport. Then there's bump. Remember I explained to you the difference between how you can use displacement and how you can use bump. Displacement, you use it directly in the output, and bump, you can use it while you are still having your normal principal BSDF shader. That's why I was begging that you actually make sure you revise the last class so that you're not lost on this one. But whatever is here, okay, the last one then is displacement and bump. That's combining the two of them, and I explained to you how it can be computer intensive, but it can also be very accurate. So now, as I'm trying to teach everybody to be a boss on his or her own, you will decide what is best for your scene. So now your search on Google changes from how to model a wooden axe. It will change, or okay, maybe how to model a wooden axe and make the handle look like a tree. It will change to which is better, displacement or bump maps, using trying to get wooden texture. So you see, everybody is different. It's just like someone going to Google how to kick a ball, and someone is going to Google when you are taking penalties. Is it better you take it with a shot, like a full shot, or maybe you place the ball, meaning you are just going to use the side of your foot? So you see, with your expertise, your experiences and your expertise will help you evolve, and you will always become better. You will always be better and better and better. So that's just basically what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make everybody a boss on their own. So when we go to GPU rendering, now if your system has an input graphics, which is either NVIDIA or what's the name, or AMD, GPU rendering makes it possible to use your graphic card for rendering instead of CPU. So when you install Blender right now, if you've not gone there, if you have not gone there at all, it is basically it is on CPU. You need GPU when it comes to rendering. You need CPU when it comes to calculation. So you need a fast computer, and you also need a GPU. And remember I explained to you how you need an additional graphics card if you are doing Photoshop, you are doing animation, you are doing what again? Anything that has to do with graphics. So let's just quickly present Blender so we see what we're trying to say. So when you open Blender and you have not checked it yet, and if you are using Mac, I did not say that, but you know me, I'm not like the only time I used Mac for many projects was when I had joint project with a particular architect. I had another joint project about an animation of a school, and we had to do it like an advert. So we had two characters speaking to each other. We had voiceover. We had a studio, recorded everything, and I had to um, we used a Mac Studio to render it because my system was not very good that time. So like 4 years ago, I think, or 3 years ago. Wow, it's been a long time now. So I was in Port Harcourt that times, and it was an interesting animation, But I used Mac, and Mac is so good. I'll not lie to you. Mac is so good. Like, if you are not like me that likes it's either maybe like HP, Omen, Predator, Alienware, that you use normal Windows. Use your Mac. All you just need to do is get a mouse though, but use your Mac, because Macs are very efficient and they have graphic memory too. But then Blender might not really see where to choose it. This is what I'm trying to talk about. Come to edit, come to preferences. If you go to system, You can see my own automatically is telling you, normally this is where it starts from none. From none, you can see everything has gone off. I hope you can see, oh God, you can't see my screen. You can't see my screen. I need to make sure. You see, here's the thing. You know, when you open Blender, if it opens multiple windows, I need to present that window, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So I have to look for Blender preferences and share. So now you can see it, right? You can see, let me just see a quick thumbs up. So you can see that this is none. This is CUDA. If I go to CUDA right now, immediately it comes up. You see, between CUDA and optics, this is where the war is, because when it comes to CUDA and optics, both of them have different ways in which it can use your GPU to render your scenes. Yes, I'm going to get into that more. Now, my system is in a NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070. Your own might be, in fact, if I use my other system, that one is just 2 gig dedicated, just 2 gig graphics dedicated. That one, you just see it there, 870M or something, just normal GeForce, not GTX. This one is GTX. So, because it's GTX, you can see it's ticked here. It's telling you that, look, we can identify this thing in your computer and we're going to make use of it. That is, if it comes to CUDA. If it comes to optics too, it's the same thing. Then there is HIP and there is one API. That one API, I don't even know what it is used for. Because even when you see some people's channel and all, they're like, nobody actually uses some of these things, but then these guys, they will just put it there because they know that everybody's not the same and maybe somebody will eventually use it and all. But explaining GPU rendering, look at the list of graphic cards graphic card types that are like compatible with Blender when it comes to using CUDA. When you have more reflections, you don't use CUDA, you use optics. But the difference is not that much, but one is more efficient. So imagine you are just trying to find ways to make your computer calculate your scene in a faster system. If you understand what I'm trying to say. Well, basically, this is all they are, and I made sure I took a picture of this so that in case you're going to get any kind of NVIDIA, all of them, they're all NVIDIA series. These are Tesla workstation products. You can see this is for NVIDIA when it comes to CUDA. So CUDA is supported on Windows and Linux and requires an NVIDIA graphics card with compute capability 3.0 and higher. So to make your GPU, that's to make sure your GPU is supported, see the list of NVIDIA graphic cards. But I'm still telling you, even if your system is just 1 gig dedicated, you can do animation. Don't be scared. If your system does not have any graphic card, you can still do animation. It's just that going through this class will make you know where your strengths are and your weaknesses are. Simple. Guess what? If you go online, they will tell you that you must have graphic card. But me, I'm telling you, you don't need to. Why? Because you can tweak these things. You can tailor your animations to use only EV kind of rendering. You know, we're doing all this because we're in cycles. Don't forget. It's only we're in cycles right now. That's why cycles one that have shadow catcher, transparency, all those things. That one is cycles that has it. So now let's go. See optics now. Optics is supported on Windows and Linux. Same thing too. And look at the kind of almost the same list of almost the same list of products, NVIDIA graphic cards. Make sure your GPU is supported. Same thing, either RTX or GTX. This is for optics now. That's the second one on the tab, if you remember. Now see the HIP. They say is supported on Windows and requires AMD graphics card with RNA architecture or newer. So now they will tell you that you have to go to AMD's website to understand basically, but most people don't use HIP. I'm just telling you. I'm just doing this for the purpose of learning. So there's a question here that says, is CUDA not supported on Mac? CUDA. It is, but I don't know how to explain this to you. When it comes to normal PCs, they split their processors from their graphic processors. These NVIDIAs and AMDs, they are graphic processors. If you open your system, you will see where your normal graphic card is and you will see where your Intel, like, you know, when you open this normal Intel Core i7, Core i5, you see all those things on your system, those tags. Those things are just your processors. Macs have graphic memory, but most times it is intertwined with their normal processor. Meaning, as my own PC now, I can right click and try to run an application with my normal processor or run it with a graphic card. Their own, most times, is just straight. So, optics, so CUDA, all Mac supports all of them. So that's the good thing about Mac. But I want to have that power to be able to separate which one I'm using my graphic card for, and I'm not just a Mac person. So yeah. So frequently asked questions: why is Blender unresponsive during rendering? And when you start to render, you see that your system can actually freeze, especially when you're using Eevee. If you're using cycles, you might be able to do one or two. But remember, if you are rendering a scene, you are trying to take it out to become an image. If you won't really be able to make any changes now, because imagine you're trying to make changes and the thing is processing to process. Like, it's just like, okay, imagine you're trying to take a picture of somebody, and while imagine the process of taking that picture takes like 8 seconds. So within 1 second to 8 seconds, imagine you're trying to go and tweak the person's hair. So that's not possible. So let me just try to explain to you. Our rendering is almost like you're trying to snap a picture, and then maybe if it's your baby you're trying to snap, or your family member, or whoever you're trying to snap. If you snap that person transform from a 3D to 2D, now the person is just an image. So basically, that's what rendering is. So of course, it's always going to be tasky. Your computer is going to freeze. Why does a scene that renders in CPU not render on GPU? See, there might be multiple causes. Once your graphic memory runs out of memory, it will tell you. It happened to me when I was using my old system. There was this other funny animation I used to use. This girl that is very notorious. If you check my Twitter, you see it. So one time when I was renting, because I had hair, because she was talking about this her wig. If you can see the video, say, I'm telling you, the old system still tried to render it, though, but I used my CPU to render that. Trust me, and it was a Core i5. You sure I'm telling you that it's actually possible, but of course my GPU helped, but my GPU ran out of memory. I had to fall back to normal CPU. What renders faster? Now this varies depending on the hardware you use. Different technologies use different computing times depending on your scenes too. So you see, your kind of scenes depend on the kind of computer you have and the kind of graphic cards you have. That's why I'm trying to teach you to become a boss. If you are rendering a sci-fi scene, it's different from when you are rendering an ocean where you have more water bodies, meaning you have more reflections, but you have less amount of objects because you only have ships, even if they are fighting. These are things you put into consideration when you become a boss of your own, because you're a boss on your own already. You decide. Right now, what you need to do, you know why there's no straight manual to things like this, is because scenes differ. And because scenes differ, okay, example, if I'm doing a scene of a sitting room and you are doing a scene of a sitting room, and in my own sitting room, my table is glass, your own sitting room, your table is, even if every other thing is the same, just because I have a glass table and you have a wooden center table, it's not going to render at the same time. One will come in faster. I can't even tell you which will come in faster. It might even be the glass, maybe because the amount of object to reflect is not much. It might actually even be the wood, maybe because your wood has shiny surface, maybe it is wet. So you see why it depends on your scene. So now you have to find out what kind of scenes you have and if it will require more. If you require more reflections, if you have a graphic card, this optic is simple. I didn't even know this until like last year. So yeah, to look at the top CPUs and top GPUs, if you can take a screenshot just to know. But I know these are very, very high systems. Trust me, very, very high systems. Like, they are big systems, and I know it's not something that somebody will say, you can just get. You can see the NVIDIA RTX 58. These ones are very big. These systems, some of them can cost like over like $2,000, $3,000. I'm telling you, when it comes to brand new, and in case you don't know, gaming systems are very expensive. So yeah. Then error messages, when you get error messages, make sure you install your graphic cards drivers. Remember I explained to you, remember when some of you are like, you can't install Blender. Drivers is something that helps you to install your applications. So if you get a new system, if it is brand new, you might have drivers issue. If it was flashed, like if you didn't get it from like the store, if they format your system, you will need drivers. If you got it from the store, they will know that since you are like a newbie, they will get in at least the basic ones. Like maybe you will see your Windows is going to be activated, you have Microsoft Word, you have normal Microsoft Office, and then you can have WinRAR. Hope you know WinRAR. It's like a software that um helps you to extract, you compress files and you extract files. Yeah, it helps to compress and extract files. So those ones are like basic. This DirectX, this DirectX 11, DirectX 12. I even heard this DirectX 15 now, because I recently was trying to help someone to drive the system. So drivers help your systems to be driven. When you install an application, when you see it writing installing in progress, installation in process, it's just bringing in so many DirectX files into your system, so that when you want to use your software, it will be able to perform that task by virtue of the drivers that is inside your system. I hope I've not confused anybody. So trust me, some drivers might not even be able to, like, might not install properly in your system due to lack of other drivers that you need. Meaning, when it comes to graphic cards, your graphic cards, do you know that your system can have graphic card right now, and if your system is not driven properly, it might not even recognize that it has a graphic card, because it has not gotten that drivers yet to put into, like, okay, since we know that we have drivers in our system, let's have drivers, and sorry, since we have GPU, let's have drivers of GPU that can help us recognize that, okay, this is a GPU and we can work with this GPU. I hope I've done justice to this. If you understand, please just quick thumbs up, so that we know that we're trying to making headway. I know it's not easy, but we are doing fine. I promise you, we're actually doing fine. So yeah, render baking. Now let me explain something to you. Cycles uses baking. Now, because I explained baking in a way though last time, but I'm still going to go over it again. Basically, right, since you had your sitting room, imagine you did your bedroom now, or you see, when you put a source light, maybe it's a point light, or it's an area light, or it's a sun lamp, and you've seen all those, right? When you bring them into your scene and you move from basic mode to text to rendering mode, you start seeing shadows automatically. Now, since your scenes might be very complicated, and to render one particular image might take like almost maybe 5 minutes. That's a very long time if you're doing an animation of 30 seconds. Don't worry, we'll calculate it for you when we go further. So you see how cutting in your render time is so important. Blender does something called baking. It's not like your regular baking cake. Instead, Blender can calculate where there is light and shadow. Maybe at the edge, the crease of your chair, the edge of your chair, the edge of your chair pillow. Between, if there are pillows on your chairs, behind the pillow and the chair, there's always going to be a dark area. Blender can map out that area, okay, for each object, and bake the shadows on them, so that when you are rendering, it doesn't need to calculate the amount of light bouncing and the amount of shadow casted for each image. Baking is very powerful. So now they're telling you baking textures like base color or normal maps for export to game-ng. So now let me tell you, most times, games are like, imagine you have a 3D scene that is heavy and it is running like that, meaning it is rendering after every image. That is very, very powerful. So you know what games do? Most times, since they need performance, if not, your game will be very slow. If you're a gamer, you understand that if your console, okay, if it's a console, yeah, but if you're like me, that used to use my PC, since I had gaming PC, so sometimes I actually get Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 6, all those kind of games and all. If your system is not good enough, it will lag. Do you know why? Because the GPU, if you had enough GPU and enough CPU, you'll be able to process each scene faster. Your character is moving. If it's moving, his cloth is going to be moving, his hair is going to be moving. All these things, computer needs to calculate everything. And even while it's calculating their movement, it has shadow, it has texture, meaning you also need GPU. You see where baking comes very important. So now, baking requires a mesh to have UV map. I'm going to explain that further so you understand what UV maps are. And you use render bake in intensive light shadow solutions such as ambient occlusion or soft shadows from area light. You can see they're telling you now that it can make things better when you use area light. When you use area light, and it calculates, okay, yeah, there's a shadow here already, so let's bake here. Once we bake here, when we are going over the rendering, it is going to just move past that fast. It will not even like waste time in calculating the amount of maybe pixels where on that particular table that is shadow or there's light. Sorry. Please let me just take a little water break. Yes, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. That was a very like needed water break. Please, whoever you are, please mute your mic. Mute your mic.
On your phone.
Innocent, please mute your mic. Okay, so we're going to be talking about brushes. Now, the last time we spoke about brush, remember we were sculpting, right? I needed to teach sculpting first so that I would have introduced you into brush when it comes to textures using brush. Now for painting, sculpting, for painting or sculpting modes, each brush type is exposed as a tool. So now you can change all the setting of your brush that's in your object property panel. And now this is your data block where you use an blender for whatever brush you want to use. There's always a preview of how the brush is. That's actually very important, even if you are someone that don't have time in reading through the shape of your brush, your brush size, your brush everything. So yeah, so now when it comes to stroke, now stroke defines the way brush strokes are applied to the canvas. Let's just quickly present blender so we can see what we are talking about. I still have my preferences on, so let me just take it off. So now this is what we're talking about. You can actually even come straight to texture paint to test what we're trying to say. But guess what? If you try to paint, you will not see anything. Can you see I'm trying to paint? Nothing's coming. If I try to paint, let me hide this so you can see what it's saying. Can you see what it's saying below? It is saying missing textures detected. Meaning you need to have an image, you need to have an active material where a texture is attached to it. And once a texture is attached to it, then you can do what you want to do on that texture. Let me just go a bit further so I can make you understand this and without confusing you. So for whatever the kind of canvas you see, like now when I was moving that it turned circle, right? Immediately our cursor turned to circle, meaning it has turned to brush automatically. See the different ways you can actually do. You can make your brush appear as a line, you can make it as airbrush, space, drag dot, dots, curve. I want you to actually play with these things because there's so much beautiful effects. In fact, I don't know why I didn't bring out a particular video I did of one House of Dragon intro, and I just basically all I used was it's like a 2D animation, right? But it's Blender and I just use brush, that's all. Made the brush simulate something like an olden day style stroke, and So basically you can get so many type of effects just having your brush. There's also something called stabilized stroke in case you use Photoshop before or use any of the design softwares. If you didn't, no problem. Stabilized stroke will allow your strokes to be stabilized when you are using them. It's as simple as that. And then you have your radius and your factor. I want to make sure I'm able to explain this without confusing you. So before I go to fall off, let's just go to Blender. Now, this is what I'm going to do. Watch me carefully. Watch me carefully. I'm going to go to materials. You can see this material here. If I go to shading, I went to shading. Look at me, I went to shading. Look at our principal BSDF. I cheated this the last time. I'm going to press Shift A, or you can come here and press Add. It's the same way you come here and press Add to bring in a new object. Just come to search. Don't disturb yourself. Come to search. Don't worry. Don't worry. The higher you go, you'll be able to go to, like now me, I was going to go to where it was. Come to search. Press Image Texture. Click it. It's going to come here. Connect it. Immediately you connect it, you can see it turns black. Anytime Blender shows pink, it's telling you it has missing textures. I'm in texture paint though. I'm going to go back to shading. Watch me carefully. I will bring in a new texture. Let's make it texture 1. You see I didn't click out. If you click out, you're going to lose the editing part of this thing. So make sure you're here. You can, let's make the color black. Okay, let it be black by default. Immediately now, look at this. If I go to texture paint, can you see it's now black? Now, since it's black, I'm zooming in out. When you come to texture paint, you can see there's a window for just painting. This is what you call UV. UV is how do I even explain this? Let me drag this so you can see this things properly. UV is like the area surface of your object, but spread on a flat surface. So imagine you are transforming your 3D object to 2D surface. Okay, imagine you have like an orange, right? And you carry like a pen and draw on the orange. If you are drawing on the orange, you are drawing on its body. This is what you are doing basically. This is what texture paint is doing. Now imagine you didn't have the ability to do that, and all you wanted to do, let me undo, is to peel the orange and arrange all the part of the orange peel on the floor. Now you have taken the main orange away. The orange peel is on the floor. You want to draw well, and you don't want to be drawing on the orange because it's difficult to draw on a circular surface. This is what it helps you to do. So basically, if you say, in fact, let's come here. In case normally by default your Blender is supposed to be able to your Blender is supposed to, you can see I'm on draw automatically. Let me just explain something to you in case you guys don't know, guys. If you come here, you can still come to object mode, meaning this thing we're doing in texture paint, we can actually do it in layout, because in layout, see where texture paint is. Can you see? Let's go back. Just stay with me, hang in there. Now, while we're in texture paint, come to your radius. I'm going to drop my radius to 38. No, let me just click it and put 12. Look, meaning this is your top view. Meaning this is your other view. So it has arranged where everything is. This is what they call UV mapping. It is very, very complicated. I'll not lie, because now the next question you're supposed to ask me is, how do you know which side is which? Of course, to me, I'll not lie, while I learned on my own and I didn't have any tutor, I was able to okay, if I click here, if I draw here, it means this is where it is at B, no problem. I'll now clean it. Like now, where is cleaner? If you come over here, there's soften, there's smear, there's clone, fill, mask. Okay, sorry. Okay, this is what you do. In this draw, you see where this mix is? Just come to you can erase alpha and it's actually going to clean it. Can you see? It's as simple as that. But on default, it is on mix. Make sure you are seeing what I am doing. Make sure. I wouldn't love it if you were maybe doing it on your phone and your system is by your side. You're always going to have the recording and your recording is just going to guide you. But while we're doing this thing in real time, you will actually feel that you are the one doing it yourself. So basically, this is texture paint. Oh. In fact, all those very confusing things I put on my document, this is texture paint, basically. So now, what the goal you need to do is to find out how which side is which. Top. You can change your UV to make this your own. Arrange here, so that imagine I don't know, the next time when I think of this, maybe a tattoo, right? Because when I think of this, I think of a tattoo. When I make my 3D characters, I try to bring in tattoos, right? So now you see how this box has been spread out on this flat surface. That's how the whole human body is spread on the flat surface. So I can draw the tattoo on the side of the girl's cheek, or maybe on her nose, or maybe on the side of her head, her ears, above her earrings. Beautiful. This is a very powerful topic, and I really enjoyed texture paint because with texture paint, you can do and undo. I will show you the reason why. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I hope you guys are enjoying what we're doing. I hope you are following up. I know it's a lot to take, but so yeah, this is fall off. Now, fall off basically just try to tell you how your brush interacts with the surface. So now you can control the strength of the fall off of your brush. Trying to present Blender. Now when you come to fall off, can you see where fall off is? See all those things I put in my PDF. So now if I make, I'm going to just give you an example. Let me make it, which one is this? Which preset is this? Sharp end. Now if I draw, look at it. Can you see? If you look at the fall off, you can see here is smoothing. Let me make this one constant. Is this constant? Yeah, this is constant, I think. Now let me draw. Can you see this one has sharper edges? So fall off basically is just telling you how it's the the shape of imagine if your pencil is blunt or your pencil is sharp. Simple. I'm trying to explain it in a layman term. That is basically what fall off does. Nothing very, very special for fall off. Fall off. Sorry for rendering you like that. So now we have, I have explained this already. A UV texture is a picture, image, or sequence of image that is used to color the surface of a mesh. The UV texture is mapped to the mesh through one or more UV maps. What you saw with this cube here is a UV map. Do you understand? So that is what a UV map is called. See, UV map is so extensive because I'm telling you that even some of these Disney movies, they look out for people that know how to use UV maps very well. And UV maps are very, very confusing. I forced myself to learn it though because I used to use Cookway to just find the way and apply my texture, draw on the object and run away. But eventually it gets to a point where, oh boy, I had to unwrap my objects, have a specific UV map, put them here. The eye is going to be here, the whole face is going to be here, the leg is going to be there. And if you have tattoos, say like the whole body of a character, like I remember I explained to you how under your eyes are darker, under your nose, the point of your nose is brighter. All these things, you need texture and you need UV map to unravel this so that you can paint on your characters. So now getting started. I'm trying to bring you into this officially. Now, an object to be painted must be first unwrapped. That is why I called it unwrapped. You will just go click on your object, press edit mode, press U. If you press U, you will see all your unwrapping. This you can unwrap as smart UV islands and all. UV unmapping is confusing, but if you take your time, you actually understand it. So you're not don't be scared from it. They are simple unwraps and they are very complicated unwrapping styles. So once you enable texture painting, your mouse becomes brush. We saw that. UV textures. Since images used as UV textures are functionally different from other images, you should keep them in a directly separate from other images. Now let me explain something to you. You see that thing I was drawing, P, everything on the box. If you quit Blender without saving it, if you go back to texture mode, you will start again. You see this thing I'm telling you here, it is so important because I suffered this thing 1,000,000 times. I didn't know. I created like a shirt and I did the design. I downloaded design and put my own design on top, did some kind of paintbrush design, everything, wrote my name on top. And I said rendering. When I rendered halfway, something happened, power went off, system died. When I brought it back on and it restarted, anything that makes your system to restart, if it was going to hibernate, no problem. If it's restarting, you are launching Blender on again. My shirt was blank, oh guys. I nearly died, but I survived. You will survive. So I'm going to teach you how to save your textures. See, they're telling you if the header menu, if there's an asterisk, it means that it has not been saved. These are your tools for your texture paints, and I'm going to go over them very quickly. Is there a question? Okay. Why are you laughing? So somebody in the chat box is laughing. What's going on? What is going on? You're fine now, you're fine. Like, you don't have any problem, do you? Let me just present Blender. That was what I was going to do next. Don't worry, we'll all be fine. So this is Blender. So this is Blender, right? And if you come, can you see this is the asterisk? If you come here, you can actually save your image. Now, it will open a dialog box. Let me see if I can present that dialog box. Sometimes, you know, some people are still coming in. So now I think now is a good time to bring in the attendance, I think. Because if I bring it from the first class, whoever joins in halfway will not see it though. You understand? So I'm not trying to do it so that like people don't register. No. It's even good that everybody registers, like, you know. Even if our turn up is very low these days because we have recorded versions. Remember, we're going to gift out our 5 people that submitted attendance, you know, that submitted the assignments that we presented last week. So yeah, this is the attendance. So when you come to Blender, I'm trying to present this multiple window is giving me a serious problem. I'm having to, and this takes a lot of my time. Window. So now this is what Blender shows, right? So now it's telling you file directory where you can actually save your image. That's what it's doing basically. I'm going to let's go back to normal Blender. So with Blender, you can actually, you see all those things they were talking of, look at them. Soften, let me just show you. Can you see? Did you see what I just did? Just soften the thing, like subtle edges. Smear, bam. Look at it. So you can imagine the effect. Do you know, okay, if you ask me the kind of effect I'm thinking from this alone, I'm thinking if a lady is crying and she has lipstick and I'm trying to make it a realistic scene. I can't think of any other one I can use smear for. But I can make her lipstick and take out this smear to show you that from maybe her eyelashes, from her eye, I don't know what they call that, it's eye pencil. Oh God, sorry, please. But yeah, and for my lipstick, I can take this. Maybe she has been crying And I know you understand what I'm trying to say. So there's going to be like a smear that shows realism that this person has been crying and she has probably messed up her makeup. So yeah, there's clone, can clone what you actually just clicked on, and there's fill in case you played with those objects back in the if you played with paint tool back in the day. So let me just go to where fill is, turn it green, and you see it filled everywhere green because there's no definite boundary. Let me undo. But fill is fill, as you can see, and then there's annotate that I have been seeing everywhere. Annotate is everywhere in edit tool, in object mode. I don't know why annotate does not just stay. See now, object mode, annotate, edit mode, annotate. What is wrong, guy? Why are you everywhere? We don't remember annotate is just basically, maybe even for teaching process and this is, so maybe if you're trying to illustrate something, I can tell you that this is the other view, this is the side view, and then you can clean your annotation. So yeah, escape, go back to draw. Of course, for annotate, you can only erase it. This is so annoying. Nothing to erase. Okay, oh boy, Blender. If you know what just happened to me right now, I was trying to erase it. I first undid it, it didn't go. I now tried to erase it. It now told me there's nothing to erase. That's just misleading. And that's just wicked, you know? It's annoying. It's not cool. It's not cool. So tiling, I'm going to teach you bringing in an image and the process of tiling. But guess what? Imagine you went to go and buy tiles for your new house. You see, the process of tile, like having the same repeated design everywhere, you know now, like with the designs run like left and right boxes, like what you're seeing here, you can actually tell Blender you want it to be tiled or not tiled for your image textures. Now, this texture where we are right now is all the kind of textures you can get. Remember, I started from paint texture to normal texture. Let us go. Don't be scared. We are doing fine. We are doing fine. So now, that texture, I didn't save it, that's why I seen asterisk. So I'm going to show you something very simple. I'm going to go to shading. Watch. I will remove this node. You can even attach it from here too. Let's drag this out. I'm going to share another window. Share something else. My new tab. Yes, this is my new tab. Hope you can see my new tab. I am going to search Polyhaven. Polyhaven is a website for getting textures. You can get even from Google. In fact, let me just make it easy for everybody. See, someone is just coming. Let's say, what kind of texture? God, wood texture. Wood. Can you see? Because they know that people are looking for these things. Now I'm going to come to images and what did I just type now? God. Wood texture. So I'm going to click this. Guys, this is not going to end in 1 hour. So if it goes off, I'm going to send another link immediately and you try to join. Please try to join. If you are tired and you've had enough for the day, okay. But I feel, let me just type it. There is gonna be a second link. Please join immediately after the first. The reason why I'm doing this, I want feedback from you guys. Please join immediately after the first. I put fist. Oh god. And I'm with my glasses, so I don't know what's going on. So oh my god, you guys are not seeing my texture. This is a problem. having constantly to share windows is taking a lot of our time. I'm going to come here, wood texture set. Can you see my hope you can see it now. Please, hope you can see it now. Please, please, please. Hope you can see my this thing now. I'm just giving you the simplest way to do this. Now watch. Imagine I'm trying to do it all the way from there. Imagine I want to save the image. Oh, I can either right click and save image as. I'm teaching how to save. Don't go and take someone's copyright image. Be careful, we are all creators. Don't go and steal someone's picture. But this one, you can see this one is free and all. So you can either right click and save as image. You can't see the window that popped up. I can't always keep presenting though, but it's always going to, it's presenting. Do you want to save it as a JPEG? Now you can also come here to the main website and right click and save. I'm going to present it. I'll present it, no problem. I know it's very, very tiring, but I will. Save image. I've saved the image. I'm very sorry if this is getting a little bit tiresome, but it's worth it, guys. It's worth it. I need to show you the whole process. You will not have problem, I promise you. Look at what we just, if you can see what I just downloaded, please just quick thumbs up. You do a lot of thumbs up in this thing. Can you see what I just, can you see, this is what listen. I am going to show you the old way. You can actually carry this and just drag it and dump it in your, what's the name? Where's our blender again? Rainbow Carbon. Okay, you can actually carry it and drop it here, but no problem. Let's go to Blender and show you the old fashioned way. I will come here, you can see, click here. This, anytime you see this, just know that it means you can actually, like, it's either you're choosing this is texture one. This texture one is one we created that we're drawing all those things. So this one we created it where it was not downloaded. I'll just come here, click this. It has presented another window. You can't see the window. I will show you the window. It's not easy, man. Can you see my window? Hope you can see my window. I'm teaching you in case you're even looking for a texture you don't ever find. Now, I will come to downloads. Can you see where my downloads are? So you can come here, click extend modify date. Okay, this is folder for assignment. As I click modify date, can you see that? Okay, this is where it is. I've located where it is. In case you're only showing like list, come, if you're showing like list, no problem. Look at my wood texture. If you show, you can click here too and make sure it's actually a wood texture. It's going to go off now. So you just click open image. Yeah, thank you all for joining back. Thank you, thank you. I know, but today is holiday, so let's just try to. We need to, because we're already past halfway, and there's no need to rush everybody if I'm only carrying a very few people along. So I'd like to make sure everybody's going on along. So so I was presenting Blender. So now this is our wood texture. You see how I pressed this and it took me to a window, and then I basically got everything. Like if I zoom in now, you can see this is our wood texture. Look, this is our wood texture. So now if I connect it to my base, you can see my wood texture is here already. If you don't like node, I know these nodes are very, very difficult, because I remember I explained to you how you can connect displacement through here, and or you can actually even use this same wood, the alpha of this wood, and connect it to your displacement. But I know node is always difficult. You can actually even come to this part of your principal BSDF where you see base color. Can you see? So even if it was not there, you see where you can actually tell it that you want image texture, and it will tell you where to be here. See, look. Can you see? I just click this drop down. So this same file, you can actually do it here and get in your texture. But How this wood wraps around your object now is where UV mapping comes into place. So that is the reason why it is very, very important that I will not lie, you need to still understand the whole process of UV unwrapping. You need to understand it, right? You, but just go one step at a time, and little by little we will actually just get there. Okay, so before I share the last one, remember I shared, let me just show you what I mean. So I showed you that there are other textures. Remember the texture we did, we downloaded it. You see the way I downloaded that texture, you can download an image, you can download the logo of Blender, the logo of a shirt, I don't know, the logo of anything you want. So you can download anything you want and use it as a texture to your object. Right that moment, that wood texture you are seeing on that object, it is acting as just a material, meaning it's just acting as a color type of texture. It is not acting as a displacement, meaning if you zoom into the cube, you won't see the real lines that are going in and out of your cube. You're only going to see it as a color. It's just like when you have all those your tables where you have a smooth table, but it's the color is like wood, but if you touch it, it's very smooth. That's what it's doing. Now, these are a bunch of other textures that you can actually use. Environment textures, these are all that Blender uses. Noise texture, point density mode, sky texture, Voronoi texture, wave texture, white noise texture node. I have not even used white noise texture node before in my life, because I don't know what would have carried me to be using white noise texture mode. But let us keep going. So I want to present Blender for you. So what am I trying to say? If you come all the way to Blender, you know, we're in shader mode. Either way, if you want to come to your layout back, drag here up and click here, you can still turn it to shader editor, and we have converted this to shader mode. You understand? It's just that with the shader mode, it has other windows here where you can see your texture map and everything. So let's just go back to shade mode, shading. I'm just trying to tell you that you can customize your UI so however way you want it. Now let's shift. I'm just panning. I'm panning away with my middle mouse button. Come here and bring in search. Can you see texture? Green texture, texture coordinate. They are all here. If I go the natural way and come to texture, look at all the textures you're seeing. Brick, checker, environment, gradient. Let's start with gradient texture. Oh wait, there's just a lot. We might not have time to go through all of them. Wait, add texture. Let's start with the easiest, which is noise. I use noise a lot. So now, most objects in life are not like nothing is. There's always something like death. Do you get what I'm trying to say? There's always something called like death when it comes to handling a handling like a realistic material. Nothing is purely clean. That is what makes it three-dimensional. If it's 2D, you know, we can make the wall maybe just like that, smooth and no smudges, no stains. But guess what? I'm trying to tell you now that noise texture helps you to add a little bit of realism to your can you see? This is noise texture. This noise texture is having a lot of colors. Why? Because there is no direct color in between. You see this texture, any texture that we're trying to bring in here, all the textures you saw here, they help either act as a texture on their own or act as a factor for a texture. How do I mean by a factor of a texture? Don't get confused, just hang in there and with you, and we will I'll make you understand in no time. But I just don't want to confuse you by bringing in a mix shader. But I'm not seeing any other way I can do it without escaping. Guess what, guys? But let's just dive right in. You know, don't be scared. Don't worry. So there's something called mix shaders, right? So imagine you want to mix white and black. This is white. Remember, our principal BSDF is white on by default. Don't forget, I'm not even rendered. We're in textured this thing. My import this thing for material preview, which is texture. That's how you can see. Now, if you want there to be black too, you can actually shift duplicate this or even delete. Or if you want your black to not have the same material with your white, listen well. Just come to here, press diffuse. Change this to black. If this is a mix, you see this mix shader, I'm just going to drag. If once I click it here, you can see it's highlighting because it has come in between. Now it is telling you there's a socket for shader 1 and there's a socket for shader 2. You see the way there's a socket for shader 1 and 2, meaning there can be like 1 million sockets. Don't worry. Now you can see the color change. Do you know why the color change? The color changed. Okay, right now it is you know why it's showing black? There is no material connected to it. You know why? Because this is just a mix shader. A mix shader is not a shader. It is not a material input. It's not a material input until you connect one BSDF, whether it's white or the second BSDF, whether it's black. I know you can tell me, this black and this black. No, really, there is difference. This black is an actual material of black. This black means it is missing a texture. Please, there's difference. So you know, say, I want it to be black. Oh, let's just remove all the old sockets. No. So we're going to make our BSDF white first one and make this black one second one. Now watch. Can you see immediately I did this as it set, as it got activated, you can see it is in between white and black. Let me tell you what noise texture helps you do. If I bring in the FAC of this noise texture and take it to the FAC of here, now the noise texture will dictate where is white and where is black. That is what I'm trying to explain to you all when it comes to normal inbuilt texture for Blender. You are either treating it as a normal texture, which we did, which showed many colors, or you are trying to make it dictate how you want your black to be. Now, what I'm going to do. Now, I can reduce the scale because our major color of this object is white. You can see immediately we did this. Let me just remove, okay, let me zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. Let me drag this one away so you can really see what I'm doing. If I remove this socket, watch, it goes back. Blended, now it's like as if you mix black and white. This is in between direct color. You can come to your, looks like Minecraft cube, no problem. Yes, meaning you can create your Minecraft environment. So you see what we're trying to say. And that Minecraft stuff, there's so much money in it. I don't know why I never thought of it though, because Minecraft they use very simple objects. I'm giving you people, you see how opportunities are coming. You know, someone actually met me and explained to me that what are the use, and that person didn't meet the first class. You see, that's why I see these classes are very important. You can't be asking me what's the use of actually like the advantage of being in this bootcamp, being that it is even free and we're actually having to even give gifts for people that are actually dedicated. That says a lot, you know. But look, you can be 3D artist, you can be any kind of artist, you can work anywhere in any animation company, you can be an animator on your own, you can freelance, you can get jobs, you can work for the biggest companies, whether it's Minecraft, whether it's for normal 3D softwares, Ubisoft. There's a company called Ubisoft Studio. It's used to make very good games. So you can actually be you can be maybe a modeler, the person doing the animation, person doing their environment. Your opportunities are limitless. I know with the bringing of AI now a lot, there are even softwares that can do quick animations. Yes, but guess what? You can tailor your own kind of animation. If you don't want to go into animation, you can use this to add it into your, if you're a UI UX person, you can have 3D objects as your sequences instead of 2D objects. That is mind blowing. So I still don't know how. There's a lot. In fact, there's a lot you can even do besides all what I've listed. All what I've listed. So I really need us to be thinking big, you know. So you can see with the mix shader, if I drag this slider, it is telling me that you want more of the shader below, like the shader, you want more of the shader below than the one above. If I drag like this, you can see it's telling me it wants more. It's going, if you are taking it towards your left, it means you are taking it towards the shader, number one shader, white, black. So now, once you go back and click in your texture, it eliminates that power. Now, it now gives that power to your texture node. You can make it rougher. Look, you can see. We can distort it a bit. Can you see? Look at the effect. You should be thinking of what you can do already like this. Scale. Now, meaning you can zoom in. Probably the computer is just treating your textures as a flat 2D image. So you can, basically what I'm doing, I'm just scaling in and out. I'm dragging this slider out. As I'm dragging it, it's as if it's just scaling in and out. So I'll just come this way. Let's just leave it this way. And details. Can you see? Can you see? You can drag it like this. So now it's telling you that this is a white object that has this is a white object that has black surface. Do you understand? A white object that has black surface. Remember, that's what we're trying to depict. So this is a very dirty object. So yeah. So please, if you're following up, please just let me just say little thumbs up, little thumbs up, little thumbs up, little thumbs up. The way you have noise texture, if you go in and bring in other textures, it is the same thing it will give you. See checker. And see checker even has its own basic color already. I'm trying to tell you, if you bring in your FAC and connect it to, immediately you take it here, that one will go off immediately. Noise has gone off already. Can you see checker? Can you see checker? Look at checker. As the name implies, this is beautiful. What do you call those something cubes? You know those mind cubes? Oh God. Oh God, Jesus Christ. So you can scale the amount of, that's the distance between each of, can you see, limitless. This is what the textures here can help you do. Where is most gray? You see this image here, but if you bring in image texture, now if you bring in image texture, this bringing in image texture is the same thing as this image texture we just did, because basically you just come here. Can you see when you bring in image texture, there's nothing. Let me just show you. Connect the alpha to the FAC here. See, there's nothing. You know why there's nothing? Because the image is empty. So are you going to create a new image? I will go to that one. Creating this image now will make it black, then you can go and paint on it, meaning you want to paint. Oh, you see, as I said, I just clicked outside, it went away. Oh, you can see if you even click here, all the other images that have been here, see texture one, the one we painted on the cube is there. Wood texture is here, or you can actually just press open and go and find your wood texture. You can see it, it opened a dialog box for me to go and find my directory. You understand what I mean? So you can actually decide to click this, or even that's the wood texture, or even use the wood texture. Watch what I'm going to do now, and put in the FAC. If I put it in the FAC, you won't see the wood. Let me see. I don't know why it's black. Another regular day in the Blender world where you tend to suffer. You know, sometimes all this is just still try and error. But yeah, so now guess what? I hope you can see what is happening. So in this particular instance, I was actually supposed, let me see if I can actually zoom in. Okay, I can zoom in. So guys, you can actually zoom in to see what I'm trying to say. Just try to pinch your phone or your device a bit just to see if you can see these edges. So you can see that wood texture is defining where my white is and where my black is. Look, black lines running above. This is beautiful, meaning I can make this green. And we have green wood. We have made your own green wood. There's a name called green wood. Makes sense. So we've created your own type of object that has, so you see how The power of this, guys, is limitless. As I always say, all we need to work on now, all we need to do is just your creativity. So this is good. This is actually good. Sorry, excuse me. So this is what we've been trying to explain since, all our textures, all of them, with moose grave, noise, point density, the sky texture, yes. So the way you go outside during the day and you see that sky, you see how those clouds are. There's a texture like that. Or you can go and download your sky and put it into your world. Now, I'm going to explain that in our later settings. Let us move on. Let us move on. Let us move on. Render output. Let me see a little celebration. I've gotten to render output. Just little celebration, reaction, 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 celebration, reaction, clapping of hands, because this is good. This is good. You have gotten to render. I told you you have gone with you have gone past half. You've gone past half. So this is really good. Rendering, we are here. When rendering a single frame, the output should be a single image. You can make it a video, you can decide to make it an image, you can decide to make it a web MP4, whatever kind of formats you want, and all the kind of images you want, JPEG, PNG, JPEG, the other type of JPEG, and all the other types of JPEGs, they are all available, and that is actually good. Remember, I tried to explain to you in case you are confused about rendering. Rendering is just a result of converting your 3D image to your 2D. Meaning, if I take a picture of you, I have rendered you to a picture. Because if you were facing me and your ears are at the side of your head, of course, sorry, your ears will not be in front of your head. I can't touch, I can't see the side of your face again. So if you're watching a movie is and the person is standing facing you, at that moment you can't look at the side of the person. I know, yes, they brought in so I'm not supposed to expect like a question like these 3D glasses. 3D glasses kind of have a view of left and right. If you notice, why one is blue and one is red, what they do is they have multiple cameras viewing that movie, and many movies are no longer like doing 3D again, because um when you have the ability to use two or three cameras to one particular focus point, if you look, it will look like as if you are looking at the side, but you can't look at the direct side, meaning you cannot have power of over 180 degrees of that vision, of that visual. If you understand what I'm trying to tell you, I didn't want to bring 180 degrees, but I don't know how to explain this to you. But let me just show you what I mean quickly, 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 quickly. Hope you can see my screen. So what I mean by 180 degrees is this. If um I don't know why it's not showing. So if maybe um this is your screen, right? In fact, it's just supposed to be a line, because from top view, your TV is just going to look like this. This is your TV, and this is the viewer, your eyes. Whatever was 3D, three-dimensional, whatever was three-dimensional, um once it becomes an image, of course you can't see this place, you can't see this place, you can only see, I don't even know how to explain this, you can't see this place, you can only see here. Let me change the color of this paint. I need to make sure you're not confused. You can only see this top part, this part, and this part. You can't see all those other places anymore. It's the same way why I was trying to mention 180 degrees is, you can't see from, imagine this was point 0, Imagine if, let me just take it to red. Imagine this was 0 degrees. You can only see like this. Anything that's okay. Oh God, sorry, please. Hey, today I have entered. Oh my God. I'm trying to explain it in a way. This is the only way you can see your image. Front view. You can't see it like as if your eye is here, meaning your view will change. If your view changes, the view of this box will change. So what 3D glasses do basically is you have the ability to see at least from here and here. Understand? Let me change this thing to red. Look, this is highest you can see. So if you look, if you tilt your head, this is where you're going to be able to see. But you can't see over a like 180 degrees. You can't see over 180 degrees. It's not possible. It means it's only this place you cannot see. It means only this section that you cannot see, which is not possible. But if you are in a game and you are playing a first person shooter or a third person shooter, you can turn, if this is you, this is you playing the game. If this is the character can turn 360 degrees. The character can climb this cube, go behind, come to this place, come to this place, come to this place, and come to this place. Rendering does transforms everything from 3D to 2D. Basically, that's what rendering does. I hope you guys are following. I know it's a lot to learn, but today is public holiday, so let's just try to make the best use of it. I'm sounding like all those lecturers that like tend to see free time and like, don't worry, let's go, let's go, let's go. Oh God, those people, they I used to cry when they are trying to enter class. How many years down the line, and now I sound like them, but it's fine. We are doing well, guys. We are doing well. We are doing fine. So basically, images can also be used for rendering. Seems like network is on public. Yeah. The network has been bad. Very sorry about that. Very sorry. Very sorry. So for example, when rendering animations into a file format, the render job can be cancelled and resumed at the last rendered frame by changing the frame range. I will teach you frame range. Don't worry. Just chillax. This is useful if your animation takes long. I will also teach you a reason why you can actually make something called PNG sequences so you don't actually suffer yourself and start your animations all over again because you will cry. Imagine it took you 2 weeks to push out a video, a 30 minutes video. It can take you more than 2 weeks. I'm telling you, it can take you a month. It took me 1 week to push out 4 minutes. It took me 1 week and I was not even doing realistic rendering. I was using Eevee, but my system was not, of course, that very strong. But it took me almost a week, and all this week entailed sleeping overnight, leave the system rendering, go and do what you're doing, come back, it's still rendering. I will teach you everything you need to know. And in the course of all this, I will also teach you something called video. You will learn the basics of video editing, and when it comes to how people do slow motion and all, we are good to go. We're good to go, guys. We're good to go. So now, firstly, I'm going to tackle object property, output properties. This is your output properties for is anybody raising a hand? Okay. Okay, so for output properties, um you have your percentage, you have your aspect X and Y. And you see the reason why I told you that when you started Blender for my first class, if you can check my first class, I explained to you how you can tell Blender that you want your Y to be Y. Can you see here, Blender is choosing Y to be actually Y, which is Y. Like, oh God, sorry, like I didn't mean which is like Y, but I mean Y, the letter Y. Normally, don't forget, Blender recognizes Z as up and down when you are in the 3D viewport. So when you have an effect that has 3 dimension, maybe you're trying to create a texture course that has 3 dimension, 3D and everything, just make sure your Z is always going to be your Z. But when it's just 2 axes, your Y remains your Y. I hope I'm not confusing you. So I'm going to go into Blender so I don't further put. Let me first see something. Okay, let me just go over this too because I'm going to go over everything once. This panel shows how long your animation is going to last. This is where your frame range is. See the frame range I've been telling you. So now if you're telling you want your animation to run from frame 1 to frame 250, this is where you will get it. Everything is in your what? Output properties. That's why it's still on output properties. You can use a 250 frame animation at a frame rate of 30, which will last 8.3 seconds. Can you see it's 8.3 seconds? So you have 250 frames that will only give you 8. It's not up to 9 seconds. You have 250 frames that is giving you less than 9 seconds. I want that to sink in. So imagine you were going to do a video of 20 seconds. This is 8 seconds. You see the reason why animations are expensive. You see the reason why animations are expensive? Now let's present I'm getting a little bit confused because I'm having to do a lot of multitasking. Let us go to layout. We don't need, you see, when it comes to animation and all, now you see your color is still there, don't be scared. If you come here, click, it's still there, don't be scared. If you press your render, it's still there, don't be scared. You can see with rendered, here is darker. Why? Because it means there's a light source around here. Now, if you look up, can you see there's a light source? I'm going to treat light separately, but light, I will know, light is not very difficult to learn. So now I'm going to come back here. No, not wireframe, your object mode. If you press G, G is to move. If you press Z, it will restrain it only to this axis. Can you see what I'm trying to tell you? That in 3D viewports, your up and down is Z. But if you press 0 on your numpad, I've explained to you in case you don't have numpad, you know what to do, emulate numpad. I did a video on that separately. Press 0 on numpad, it's going to take it to your camera view. Remember I told you that if you are rendering, you will never see it like this in your render. What you will see is this. Now let me show you. See, I'm not even in the camera viewport. Come to render, type render image. Look at what it's showing me. If, oh God, I need to present. I've forgotten that you can't see. Oh boy. Every little thing I do, I need to present. I'll present. So look at what my render is showing me. Can you see I was not even looking at the camera, but the camera is active. So without the camera in your scene, rendering will not work. 1 and 2, rendering will only process. You can see it's a 2D image. It's a picture now. It's a picture. You can't see I'm just zooming in and out. There's nothing. I can't turn in and out. It's an image. So if I was going to do a video, this is how it's going to be. I'm just going to press quit. Of course, if I press quit, it will just go off. But go back to Blender and let's just see something. So now we're going to go to our output properties. Look, render properties. Can you see? For output properties, look at it. We treated render properties the first time. Do you remember when I started? EV, ambient occlusion, bloom, depth of field, motion blur? Yes, we did that. This is output properties. Just come to the next one, and this is it. 1920 by 1080. If you used to do Instagram video, you used to post videos, you used to do anything, this is the size of your video, your resolution. So you see all those videos that are very clear on your Netflix, most of them, anything that is above 720 is 1080 by 720. So you see in your Netflix, when you see, okay, now let me even show you sef. You can see this is not what it rendered. This was what it rendered. This was what it rendered. That's what I was trying to explain to you. Now let me show you. If I change this to 1080, you can see it change. It's 1080 by 1080 now. It's meaning it's a square. Meaning it's going to be like all those Instagram videos. Make this 720. Originally, this is what is called 720p when you're watching Netflix on 720. So if you connect your Netflix to your TV, of course you get more access to be able to do 1080 and get 2K. So 1080 is like 1K plus. Let's go. 1920 by 1080, which is the default one, which is HD. This is above 720p. Percentage. Okay, so basically this is the size of how clear it's going to be. Now, in reducing render times, this 100% means the percentage scale for render resolution. I know you might be confused, but just try to bear with me. This percentage scale you are seeing is, how do I even put it? Okay, if I drop it to 50, if I drop it to 50, it will render faster, but it will be a bit pixelated. So 100 means this HD you are seeing is actual HD. But if you drop the percentage, okay, imagine you have HD, then you minus 10% from HD. That's how Blender is recognizing it. So now we're trying to tell you that this is 90% of HD. Meaning your 50% of HD will almost be like a 720 by 7 something, if you understand what I'm trying to say. It's kind of confusing, but we will get the hang of it. So that is what it does basically. And see our aspect ratio. Aspect ratio basically is just the ratio between your x and y for your non-square pixel output. Most times you don't really come here. Render region. Many times Blender is rendering a scene. Remember, your camera is only focused on this. There might be other objects around. You can tell Blender that you only want this place to be rendered. You only want what the scene is doing to be rendered. It is very good to do that because it helps to reduce the computing power on Blender. That you should forget about other objects and focus on our focus of attention. Now I'm going to come to render. Let me just shift duplicate, duplicate, and duplicate. Now if I'm in render now, I'm in rendered. If I press this, it will not see any of all this. It will only be seeing this that we're seeing in the center. So basically that's just what it helps to do. Basically that's what it helps to do. Now frame rate, please pay attention. Okay, before I get to frame rate, let's go to frame range. Let's go to frame range. I'm going to go to basic mode. I'm in layout, don't forget. Let us come here. Remember, in layout, what used to be here by default if you open your Blender is timeline, which is what we are seeing now. I know my Blender looks very weird. Your Blender might not look like that, no problem. These are your Blender looks normally like this, and this one is squeezed to the edge so that we can see what we're doing, I know. But since you guys have become pros, we can move stuff around the way we please. Can you see even in the frame rate, it's telling you that it's starting at 1 and ending at 250. Now watch. I'm not playing, I'm just dragging this head, meaning that it will get from frame 1 to frame 250, which will give us how many seconds? Okay, since you don't know, we're going to do the calculation. Sorry, there's a little calculation, but don't be scared. Don't worry, it's not that difficult. But you need to understand this because this is basically how most videos are being played, right? Okay, so just come in. I'm going to get my calculator up. I advise you do the same too because you're going to be calculating frames. You're going to be calculating frames. So your frame per second is the amount of frames that it will take to get to a second. When in my manual we used 30 frames, it told us that 250 frames for 30 frames per second. Don't be confused. The amount of frames and the amount of frames per second is different. The amount of frames is the amount of frames for the whole animation. The amount of frames per second is the amount of frames that it will get to count 1 second. I hope I'm making sense. So now with 30 frames, they said it's going to be 8.3 seconds, meaning 1 to 250 is only going to give you 8.3. Let's make this, since 250 is the normal one, sometimes my animations used to be like, okay, let's just make it 500, 500, enter. With 500, right? Now I'm going to come over to, I want to show you, present something else. Let's come to our wonderful Canva. Sketchbook Pro, bring in a new layer, take out that one so that we can do something. So now this is what we're trying to explain. This is essentially what we're trying to explain. I don't even know why this is glitching. So I'm using a drawing tab, and it's not the normal, it's the one that has a dark surface. So you don't need to have a drawing tab for painting, but as you get better, of course, you require a drawing tab so you can draw your characters, or if you want to use Blender for 2D animation, you can actually get a drawing tab and just improve on your drawing. And yes, so that you know, so that normally with mouse you can't actually get a finite shape like this. So now let us dive right into what we are trying to do. Let me see, this is too large. Let's drop the size so we can see what we're doing. Drop it 6.8. Think it's better now. If this is your timeline, basically what it is trying to tell you, oh, I just got frustrated. I don't know, I don't know, it's lagging. So if this is your 0 second and 500, if you make it 500 and by default we change it to 30 bar, so this is what we're trying to say. If one frame, sorry, if 30 frames is going to be 1 sec, 500 is going to be how many seconds? X seconds. So meaning we're going to do 500 divided by 30. Can I get the answer quickly with your calculator? I'm with the answer here, but just to make sure everybody's flowing along, quickly drop the answer. $16.67. So it's going to, so your animation is going to last for how long? 16.67 seconds. That's up to 17 seconds for 500 frames. Imagine one of your frame is rendering. Imagine one of your frames is rendering. We're going to calculate this. Imagine one of your frames is rendering 2 minutes per one frame. Now watch. You see where the whole problem is. That is why we preach on finding ways to optimize your rendering to make sure your rendering is faster. Watch. If one frame will render for, we said 5 minutes, right? That's 5 times, I want to make it seconds. That's 300 seconds. If one frame is 300 seconds, 500 is going to be what? That is 300 times 500. That's going to give you 150,000 seconds. Divide it in 2 minutes, divided by 60. That's 2,500 minutes. Divide it by 60. 41.66 hours. So how many seconds video? for a 16 seconds video, like each image was taking 300 seconds, it will take you more than 24 hours. So you are looking at almost 2 days. This is what we're talking about? Yes. So I know with this, I've been able to do justice to your frame. So if we bring in a new one, and by default, your frames are 24 frames per second. So if you know the calculation already, so if 24 will give you 1 seconds, our 500 will give you how many? It's going to, that's why you have to have 500 divided by 24. So you have longer seconds for 20. So you have a video of 20 seconds if you are using 24 frames. So what am I trying to tell you? The lower the frames, the more you have, how do I put it? Oh God. The lower the frames, the more seconds you have. So imagine you have 20 seconds video, and but guess what? The longer, the more frames per second you have, as by 30 frames per second, 50 frames per second, the smoother your animation. So now the advantage of having 30, because someone will now be telling me, why am I going to use 30 when if I use 24 frames per second, I can get 20 frames, and it's better than using 30 frames per second and getting only 16 frames. Let me tell you why. People that use slow motion in movies, a character is flying, bullet is going through his ear, you see all those things, they are having to run their camera at 90 frames per second. Most sports cameras you see that can take, like you can see from where they are taking the replay of the goal, and you are seeing the person taking the shot, those things are over 200 frames per second. Very expensive. So you see the reason why, if you want, there's always a downside to everything you want to do. It's as simple as that. So guys, you can see animation is fun. You tend to calculate things that normally will never even be your business. Normally will not be your business. So you understand frame rates now. You can see, you understand frame rates, and you understand our output properties. And then of course, this is output. This is where you want it to be downloaded, and I'm going to explain to you how you can use your PNG sequences in case you want to render them as videos and it might not work out. Let me see outputs. Okay, so we're done, guys. It has not been easy. This was very difficult. I think it's one of the most difficult classes for me. So for output, let me just share my screen, because hope you can see my screen. Blender, this is where output is. Guess what output is telling you? Basically, where do you want to render this thing that you are doing? Is it a picture? Is it video? And all. Now let me explain something to you that is always confusing people. And my previous students, like years back, had problems with this. They used to tell me, sir, when they say render image, someone's rendering image. When they say render animation, the Blender will render from frame 1 to frame 500, all as pictures, picture. So you have 500 pictures in your video there. Why is it not? If you say render animation, is animation not a video? Blender knows. Maybe Blender is not dumb though, but Blender knows. But here's the thing, with your output file format, look at what you put here, PNG. So now you can make it AVI, JPEG, AVI RAW. You see this AVI RAW? When you shoot videos, you see all those times when you use iPhones to shoot your videos and they are in like MPEG, or what kind of format do they even use? So that's a raw footage. It's even unprocessed. It's not being compressed at all. So now you can tell Blender what you want it to be from here. If you take it to I used to use FFmpeg video. Why I use this is a compressed version of the video. I don't use RAW, because RAW is just like, you can render a video of 500 frames, which is just, how many seconds? We say it's 20 seconds back, and it can be 2 gig. 2 gig. Why? But if you do this, it can be like 5 MB. So now here's the thing. Just be here with me. This output here, Blender by default sends it to temporal file in your users. You don't know where it is. It is somewhere in, if you go to your C, which is your normal disk, open your disk, open to your users temporary file. That's where it is. meaning you can't really use it because it's a temporary file. Meaning if you even clean your system by trying to clean cache file, it will go away. Come to this place, click, and you see the way it has opened a dialog box, but you're not seeing it. But you see the way you're able to like go all the way to where we went to directory, picked where we saved all those images. So you pick your folder, create folder in your desktop, create folder in your document. Most times it's always good to create, like me, my system, go to my document, you see Blender files, open Blender files, you see Blender project, you open Blender project, you see different other folders, open to the folder, cube demonstration, maybe by today's class, you open that one, and once that one, I can now, inside that one, I now create another folder and name it rendered images. As simple as that. Once you do rendered images, you see under, they will tell you click folder. Just say yes, click folder. Now it is as PNG. If I make it FFmpeg video, if you render image, it will still render as image. I beg in the name of God, because you have turned it to video does not mean to turn to video. It is until you come to render video, until you come to render animation, that it will now make it a video. And guess what? If you are rendering only one frame, example, watch. Let me zoom in this. Let me drag this start button to like 128, but you see where I am, 128, meaning my start is 128. I want to end it at 128. So start is 128, end is 128. You can see nothing is showing at the left. Nothing showing at the left. Meaning it's just one frame. If you render this one frame as FMV, it will still come out as video. If you like be saying, it's not just one frame, it's not supposed to come out as one picture. It does not care. So far as you have to do video, you know these are computers. They will only do what you tell them to do. So I have done justice to this. This is your color management. This is where you can edit your. Let me see something. Can you see that for everything you choose, you can actually change. You know, okay, like now PNGs have transparency. So imagine if you wanted to do PNG. If you wanted to make this so transparent, it's PNG you use. You will not use JPEG. You will not use JPEG 2000. You will not use Tagger. You will not use RAW. You will not use DPX. You will not use Radiance HDR. You will use PNG, I beg you. Now, this is what we do. We professionals, that since we're in Nigeria and you're not going to have constant supply of light, if you're doing an animation of 5 minutes and you're imagine, so just calculate how 5 minutes, now you are entering thousands of frames. Don't even bother to calculate it. We are entering thousands of frames already. Imagine while you make this a video and press render animation, and what it does while you are going halfway, light goes and your system dies. You know it will start again? Yes. But when you get better, you find a way to still make it video and start exactly where Blender stopped. But it will start again most of the times. What we do now is we make them PNG. So this is what we do. If it's an animation where we don't have voice characters, because when you have voice characters, it's going to be FPEG audio, come to encoding, and you're going to see down here where you see video codec, see audio, no audio, click audio to MP3. You're going to, if you have voiceovers, you can bring your voiceovers into your Blender, make your character smile, talk, check anybody, talk anything and all. So basically that's what it does, right? But if it's an animation, like an intro animation, there's one I just did, like on my page now, about this radar hackathon, and it was just about a truck moving, helicopter dropping a particular letter. That's just basically what it was just like a logo design, something like that. Let me just put it like an intro, just like when you watch movies and you see is a soundtrack towards, like maybe I'm trying to tell you how Game of Thrones now. Nobody's talking in Game of Thrones. You're just seeing camera moving, passing through castles, passing through liquid, passing through blood, passing through maybe a wolf skin. All it's just design. You don't need audio for that. You can use PNG. Come to PNG, even if there's no transparency. If you type animation, it will render them as PNG but sequence. So it's going to be. So now imagine, you don't know though, but let me just tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to make it downloads. I click download and I'm going to name my folder Dan. Or also Dami, my name. And accept. Once it appears back, you will see that there's a change. If you zoom in, you will see that it is saying users downloads Dami. Now it is going to name it Dami 1 PNG, Dami 2 PNG till reach Dami maybe 8,000 or 5,000 PNG because we are doing 5 minutes. Okay, it's not going to reach 8,000, maybe 2,000, 3,000, maybe 3,000. I don't know. You can calculate it on your own. But you'll be seeing Dami 1, Dami 2, Dami 001, Dami 002, Dami 056, 0057. All these are frames. All the frames you render as pictures. You can now sequence them as images. So you can imagine. So basically, guys, this is how video is being made, even in movies, even in adverts, anything video, anything that is, they are all pictures. They are just sequence of pictures. When you tell Blender to make it FPEG audio, it has automatically sequenced your images. Now, guess what? Once you sequence your images, finish, you can come here, click this, come to video sequencer. Can you see? You can now press add. Tell it you want to add a, but it's telling you no, it's saying no because I've not added any like I've not like done any sequence animation yet, so that's why it's saying you can't find it. But normally you just say find add. You can even bring in a new scene sef and put here. But guess what, this thing basically is like a video editing app. Let me do this. Can you see this? Channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, channel 5, what have you. So guys, basically that is all you have to do about rendering. Your next assignment, because this call is going to end very, very soon. Don't be scared, your assignment is not very difficult. Apply materials to your, I know some of you have done, but now that you know what you are doing, I want to see very fine. We've not done lighting yet. You can experiment with light because light is light, you know. Shine torchlight on your axe, please. Shine torchlight on your, whether it's your spotlight you want to use, or put them in a creative way. Stand them. Maybe you are trying to put them on the table. Put one crossing each other. I want to see creativity. Just apply textures and materials to your weapons. Apply textures and materials to your weapons. Put the one that has blade. Put iron. Make it shiny. I've taught you how to make it shiny. Now you have wood texture. You can look for actual wood texture. Go and look for how in the olden days they use this normal what they use normal what they call it sef, how they use normal like back in the day, the kind of textures they use for their handles. Go check, look for the ones you can see. Okay, if you now see it, identify it, go to Google, type mahogany type of tree texture, look for it. When you look for different ones, look for the one you like. And guess what, this is creativity. You are not limited to the image I gave you. Yes, you are not limited, but of course, make it realistic, meaning your blade cannot be green, please. Metal is not green. Metal is in between the shades of gray, ash, black. It's not even black. Nothing is ever black realistically. Let me just give you that particular expo. While you are applying materials to your object, nothing is ever white completely and nothing is ever black. I'm telling you, there's always going to be a shade. Even if it's just going to be 0.0001 away from the actual point black, but nothing is ever black. So I'm going to be using this last 4 minutes for any quick questions. These days I don't get questions, you know. I know we don't have enough time, but I promise you, while we go forward, we're going to have a lot of time because we're more than halfway now. We're past halfway, so we don't have anything that's going to be giving us headache. And then because animation will give you headache, though. Sorry, but we're going to be doing animation next. Hope you're excited. We are only going to have 2 classes this week, so I'm going to choose either Wednesday or Friday. I'm going to communicate to everyone in the group on which particular class we're going to skip. But of course, with any class that is skipped, will come tons of assignments. Yes, you're going to get slides of this one because this is end of week 2. So you're going to get it tonight or tomorrow. Just bear with me because it's not easy trying to do the recording. I like to do everything at the same time, you know. So yes. So that's basically what we have to do. For your encoding is basically almost still the same thing. your file format, your video codec, can you see? If you want medium quality, if you want good quality, all these ones are self-explanatory, very simple. Same thing with your post-process, which is references, pipeline, post-processing, and sequencer. You just need to tick if you are doing post-processing. And guess what? You can do compositing. Remember, you can do compositing and sequencing in the same Blender. Blender is a very powerful subject. So you see. And did you post the slides for the previous classes? Yes, 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 yes. Now here's the thing. For every week, you use like one PDF. Sometimes you can use two PDFs. This one is just one. This particular PDF encompasses everything with textures, model, and all. If you go back, when I dropped the end of week one, you will see the PDFs arranged. This one, if I send it to you, you will see week 2, day 6. But don't worry, don't you just this day 6 is from 1 to 6. If you understand what I'm trying to say, that's why the documents are going to be always be ready after you've done that particular week. So you can actually go through everything with your PDF, go everything one by one while you're watching your video. If you have 3 screens, one should be your tutorial, one should be your PDF, and one should be your Blender. So really happy to connect with you guys. Really happy for this class. Thank you for staying up to this time, and hope you did your attendance. Hope you did. 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 We're trying to save out the very serious people from the people that are just here for the fun of it. And I know most of you that are here. I think I know most of you that are here, and I know you are very serious. So no problem. God bless you all. God bless you all.
Sir, because I did not get the attendance.
You didn't get the attendance. You came in late. Damn. Okay, I'm going to send it to you. Just DM me. I'll send it to you. Priscilla, right? Who is that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm seeing you. Yes. Just send me a direct message on Telegram. Have a lovely day, guys. God bless you too.